Welcome back to a brand new season of TVGP's Critical Misses. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hi, is it a season? Can
It's
it
in
really
the
be considered a
loosest of
season?
terms. This episode
Oh,
starts with S21 and ends with E01.
yes.
Yeah, we're doing what we are calling a one-fer. We got 1 week to fill between seasons, and
Yes.
putting
Uh,
putting
this
one in.
this episode is a good excuse to be a patron. If you listen to the
That's
production
right.
meeting for season 21,
Mm-hmm.
yes, 21
Yes.
production
Right.
meeting for season 21,
Yep.
you will hear some really, it's like being in a Formula One race because it's just hard left turn, hard right turn.
That's right.
Uh-oh, we ran out of time.
Yep. Yeah, you can get that over at patreon.com/E1M1.
Those ones are numbers, by the
It
way, folks.
it's a exclusive episode for the $5 tier or higher. Tell your rich friends. That's the higher part.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a good day to be a patron. It's a good day to be a patriot because we're gonna be watching
Oh,
Top
I
Gun
hate
Maverick.
you.
I
I
gotcha.
hate you so
Show
much.
canceled. Let's go.
I quit. I quit.
Yep.
I'm done.
I don't blame you. That's it. Best of luck.
The amount of stick you give me for reading my dad joke book and then you drop that bombshell.
I know. It's even better when I get one.
And it's going to be even better provided we remember,
Mm-hmm.
to do the thing with the thing. I'm
This
not going to say
episode,
it in case we
yeah,
forget.
for patrons, this episode will hopefully be releasing on a perfect day, if I remember.
Yes.
So the reason why this isn't a twofer is I think normally we would watch both movies, and I think this was
Yes.
originally under the category of long-awaited sequels.
Correct. Along with such classics as Blade Runner and Tron. Tron we
Right.
can't do because we've both seen it and we both
Yeah.
love both versions of the movie.
Very much so.
Yeah, it's the concept behind it was a movie that came out and then X amount of time later, no specific definition
Long
for
enough
it,
to
but
be
just
like, man, I wonder if they're going to make another one of those. Or, I never thought they'd make another one of those.
yes, exactly. I never
Yeah.
thought they'd make a Fantastic Four with the number 4 part 2, for example,
That's
if
right.
that ever comes out.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And it's just like, okay, well, what are some good examples of that? And this is a prime example of it. Like literally one of the best examples we have.
Yeah.
Because we have Top Gun, which was originally released in what, like 80 something?
1986.
Yes. And then we have Top Gun Maverick, which was released in 2022.
Correct. So, pretty long here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And yeah, so normally we would do the first movie, then we'd do the second movie, because almost guaranteed that one of us hasn't seen the first one.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, though, we've both seen the first one.
And, like, look, it's a stone cold 80s classic. Like, if you haven't seen the first Top Gun movie, you really should.
Probably go watch it.
Yeah, like, it's a classic for a reason, and it's a real... From what I remember, it's a real solid one. I'd love to go watch it again for the show, but, we only have 1 week. We're not going to put 2 movies in 1 week here. That'd be a little too much.
And to be honest, the funny thing about the first movie is I actually think the first movie also works really well in 2023 as an ironic, hell yeah, look how great the military is kind of movie where you just like, you can look down your nose at it and be like, you're just propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's all you are. And don't get me wrong, I'm expecting some propaganda in this movie, let me tell you.
Yes, of one of the things that I am expecting is going to be that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you are not a fan of the military-industrial complex,
right, rah America,
yes, view them as comedy movies maybe instead, where it's just like, look how over the top everything is.
Yeah,
look how
put in your own winks to the camera.
Yes, and then embrace their winks to the camera, such as the volleyball scene in the first one.
Right. Yeah, that's some just stuff.
Overtly, aggressively sexual in every sense of the word.
Oh, it's so good. So that's sort of an easy expectation, I think, of the probably excessive patriotism in this movie.
Uh-huh.
What else do we think we're gonna? Are we gonna get another type of volleyball scene? Are we gonna get
Oh,
another?
100%. You
Yeah,
know, they waited this long, they have to do a volleyball scene.
it's gonna
It
be
might
another
not
one
be
of those of
volleyball.
like, are they
It
gonna?
might be
Are
foot.
they, is he gonna smooch Val Kilmer right now? Like,
Well, no. Wait, no. Val Kilmer didn't die. That was Iceman. Goose is the one who died.
yeah.
How do I remember their call signs?
It's a classic for a reason, man. They're memorable.
Oh, there's a question. We know Tom Cruise is in this because we know full well that the amount of
He's so
the
many
amount
of
of
the posters of this movie says Tom Cruise, Top Gun Maverick. So like,
yes.
yeah,
Um, so we know that Tom Cruise got inside those jets. We know he got at least inside the
no
two-seater versions.
no one can stop him from trying to kill himself for a stunt in a movie. So of course he got in those jets. Like,
Yes,
Tom,
and
no, the insurance doesn't. I'm getting in there.
he is trying to prove to us that he is immortal. He
That's
is
right.
actually Dracula from that Dark
That's right.
Monsters.
That's right. One of these movies, I will. It will be irrefutable proof that I am undying.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is the Western Jackie Chan, if you will.
That's that's right. That's right.
I literally never thought about that until I
Yeah.
said that exact phrase. I
Yeah.
was like, okay.
They're both
And
pretty problematic too, so it's pretty good.
literally, my next sentence is going to
Yeah.
be they both have their problems. We'll
Yeah.
say.
They have a Wikipedia page that has a subheading of controversies.
And it's pretty long in both
Yes,
cases.
that's right.
So we know he's in it. We know
Yeah.
obviously we're going to get jets. We know Tom Cruise went inside those jets. There
Yep.
is no question about that. Is Val Kilmer in the movie?
I feel like if he, I don't think he's like a main character. I think it's probably going to be focused more on Tom Cruise this time. But I bet he's there, even if he's. As I suspect, this movie is probably a lot of I'm too old for this sort of thing, and like it's been 30 years, and like maybe Val Kilmer
Ha-
is.
have you seen the trailer for this, by the way?
I have not, no, because I thought,
Okay.
well, I'll probably see this at some point.
There is literally a conversation in the trailer of the movie, where it's like a like general kind of officer-looking guy,
Hmm.
and he's like, "Look, dude, you should have been promoted or booted by now. Like, why are you still the
Okay,
rank you are at?"
all right, so we're getting a little like, what are you doing with your life sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I wonder if Val Kilmer is going to be. I feel like there's two roles for him. Either he's the guy that is kind of flying around with Tom Cruise in the background, or he's like a lieutenant or a general or something at this point, where he's like, "This is the life you could have had, Tom Cruise."
A quick pause here for all of the military people who would listen to the show, and I know we have a few.
Yeah,
Boston doesn't understand ranks, so he doesn't
no,
know why
I
lieutenant is so different from general.
I do not understand ranks. I will never understand them. I know they're different, and I know one is lower than the other, but don't make it sound like don't. I don't want to make it sound like lieutenant is like, oh, you hop right up to general next thing. You know, it's not
Yes.
like I work in the White House now. You know, like not anything like that. But don't come to me for your
Yes.
is E3 different than an E5 because I don't know.
Yes. Now E1 M1. Now we know the difference
That's
between
true.
those.
That's true.
Yes.
That's the
Um,
important one.
so from what I remember about the first film, so Val Kilmer we think is either going to be same level with Maverick, like in Solidarity,
Hmm.
or you think he's just way up the chain.
Like a leadership position, yeah, of like, look, man, if you would have, Tom Cruise, if you would have stopped being a loose cannon, if you'd follow the rules, you could have been where I am right now. We could have been together, smooching.
So you think he's in the white uniform, which the white
Probably.
uniform is like the upper
Hmm.
echelon of command kind of
Yeah,
tier.
probably.
Okay, I can get behind that. Do we see the psychiatrist that he has the
Ooh.
motorcycle race with?
Oh, man, I don't know. Maybe in passing?
You think
I
a
don't
name
know.
drop?
Yeah, maybe. Like, oh, Dr. So-and-so recommended to blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How about the bar? Location wise, is he still in the
Hmm.
same place? What is Maverick's situation? Is Maverick still actively flying combat units, or
I feel like he's probably still in the exact same place because he can't stop being a loose cannon. Like he can't
so?
stop himself and get in line to kind of take the next step.
So I'm curious because it is called Top Gun, and the whole Top Gun thing is it's the school for the best of the best when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to the fighter pilots, as the first movie would portray it. I'm curious if he's still doing combat runs,
Mm.
makes a mistake, and gets put as the teacher for the
Oh,
Top Gun.
right,
So
like in
he's
the '80s sort of way of like, you're give me your badge and your gun. You're going back to school. This time you're teaching.
exactly like, and
Yeah,
now he has to
record
teach the
scratch.
next generation of fighter
Right.
pilots because I mean it's literally called Top Gun. It has to have that school involved in some way,
Yeah.
and he's not going to go back to the school as a student.
Val Kilmer
He,
comes back and said, "Do we want this guy, this crazy guy, teaching our kids how to
uh-huh.
kill with planes?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Does Goose get a reference? He kind of has to, right?
Yeah, I wonder if it's one of those things where like maybe Tom Cruise still has, by the way, we're going to continue our historical reference of everybody has a character name except for Tom Cruise because he's just Tom Cruise. I wonder if
Yes.
Tom Cruise still has his like dog tags or something hanging up in his room. I feel like that's the sort of reference you got, like, I miss you, Goose, smooch.
So you saying that just made me think of not Top Gun, the other one, the one that makes fun of it. And he's like, "Yeah, I have my father's eyes," and he opens the glasses case, and it's it's lit.
What is that? Is that
Hot
it's
Shots. There we
Hot
go.
Shots? Yeah, Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is a good scene.
pretty good.
Uh, yeah. So I'm looking at the cast for the first Top Gun. I didn't realize how stacked this was, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Tim Robbins is in it.
Wow.
Michael Ironside is in it.
Jeez.
Like the Tom Skerritt is in it. And my
Wow.
favorite part of everything to do with this is the names are hilarious. Maverick, Merlin, Ice, Wolfman, Sundown, Hollywood, Slider, Jester,
Hollywood.
Viper, Cougar.
Cougar.
Like it's all
Hollywood
the
is like
names are
the
hilarious.
the perfect call sign for literally any movie. That's so good.
Mhm. I
Yeah, I
can't
don't.
remember. Was the doctor wasn't Meg Ryan, right?
I don't remember. That's
Or
been
was
too
Meg?
long.
No, Meg Ryan was Goose's wife.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Does Meg
Yeah,
Ryan come back?
I feel like we don't see very many of those characters at all. I feel like the movie doesn't center around most of
Uh-huh.
them. Um,
Do we sing at the bar? Have you got that love and feeling, Boston? Because I don't know
hmm.
if I do anymore.
Yeah, I maybe if it isn't that specific one, I wonder how much of it's gonna be those callbacks to you love you loved and still love this goofy movie from the '80s. We're gonna do
Uh-huh.
some wink and nod sort of things.
I
Um,
I'm curious if they do a J.J. Abrams episode 7 on this,
mhm.
where it's kind of a remake of the first one with winks and nods to like the original
Oh,
stuff.
right, right,
And it has similar like beats. So yeah, it has the volleyball scene or football scene on the beach or whatever sport you want to play. Maybe they play soccer. Maybe they're progressive.
right,
Um,
right, right.
yes, soccer is the most progressive of sports. Let me
That's
tell you.
right.
Yeah, it has that scene. Yeah, it has doing silly stunts with the upside down planes like
Hmm.
on top of the other planes. I'm curious of how much of the original movie it's going to recreate beat for beat,
Yeah,
just like episode 7 did with the like A New Hope, where it's like, look, it's a big Death Star and they got to go in a hole in the big Death Star and blow it up
right.
just like they did in the
Wink.
previous. I I'm very
Hmm.
curious about that whole process.
That's a good point. Yeah. Um. Gosh, do we see?
Jets, yes.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. I'm
It's on the
wondering.
poster.
Thank goodness. I'm trying to think of who else we might potentially see in this movie. Like um, showing up in maybe not larger roles, but if we're not bringing back so many of the actors from the '86 one, who are we bringing back?
Oh,
Um,
you mean
or like who are we
who are
bringing
we
for?
bringing?
Yeah, like what big actors? Do we say Henry Cavill in this one? Like what modern actors are we seeing in this that are coming in here?
Out of curiosity, are you saying Henry Cavill because he was in
Mission
Mission
Impossible.
Impossible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, I want to see him in more stuff. He's not enough stuff.
He's getting a Warhammer show. Like he's getting
I know he's
his dreams come true.
yeah
He's fine.
yeah well, I'm just being selfish. I want to see him in more things. But I wonder who we're gonna see. That's maybe kind of a large, more recent actor in this. I'm wondering if we see anybody where
Honestly,
it's like, oh,
I
you're in
don't
this, okay?
I don't know because I think like if you're doing the Top Gun Academy and it's 2023, number one, you're probably going to have women in the cast, which I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate
Yep.
because thank you for being so exclusive in the first one,
Yeah.
accurately so, but still. I mean,
I
I
can't really
don't
think of
know.
anyone because I feel like so much of the coverage of this movie has just been, yeah, Tom Cruise is
Tom
back.
Cruise.
Everybody loves
Yeah,
it. Like
of course
everybody
it's
loves this movie. It was really good.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Because you got to think you've got to cast kids, like young
Mm-hmm.
actors. Because
Yeah,
when
if you're
Tom
gonna
Cruise
do
was
the
in the first
Academy
one,
thing. Yeah.
he was young.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's part of the one of the things I'm excited about in this is like I want to see that thing. It's like, yeah, it came out in 2022 and you're like, "Oh, you're in this." All right. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Uh-huh. I'm curious. Yeah, I'm very curious now, and I'm curious. I want to know if they get good kids. Like
Mhm.
that is the big question mark for me. Is
Yeah.
do they get good kids in this, or do they just get a bunch of people they can pay pennies to because Tom Cruise is in the movie
Right.
and he needs his $70 million or whatever it is?
That's right. All right, any other uh, predictions? Things you're looking
Um,
forward to here?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, in all honesty, I'm expecting it and hoping it will just be a rah rah America F yeah
Mhm.
kind of movie.
Yep.
Um,
That's my expectation, yeah.
do they have actual combat? Do you think? Because I know part of Top Gun was it's a training school, but oh no, real combat stuff is happening.
That's right. Oh no, the Russians are coming. Uh,
Is it the Russians again?
I mean, 30 years later after the 80s, yeah, probably.
It's appropriate, we'll say,
Yep, it was
but
Russians
also
in
at
the
this.
80s, it's Russians in the 2020s.
Well, I mean, in real world, yes, but
Yeah.
did they try and blame this on an unknown independent terrorist
A
state? Because
paramilitary group.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's either one of those where it's like either it's a PMC or it's the Russians. I feel like those
or
are
a
like
made-up country in the Middle East.
that's right. That's right. Sokovia is coming out.
I was gonna, I was gonna go with Zanzibar.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Big Boss coming in for his movie debut.
Dude,
Um,
dude,
mhm.
no, that Tom Cruise would make a fantastic old big boss
Oh, for sure.
with the eye patch, the long hair, and
That'd
everything
be great.
else.
Yeah, that'd be super good. But I'm also in the same boat of kind of I expect this to be rah rah. I expect this to be good because it was sort of universally loved last
Oh,
year.
everybody, yeah, and I think we mentioned it in the production meeting, but this was one of the movies that barely missed out on our best of 2022
Mm-hmm.
season, which was kicked to the door by Mobius for good or ill. Take what you will
Yeah,
from that.
it was a pretty easy pick for everything everywhere all at once, and then the other one was like, well, we should probably put something in here that is infamous, And
Because I'm pretty sure it was like, yeah, let's do Top Gun and that, and it was like, but dude, Morbius is right there. Like,
Morbius is like,
kind of
hey, what's up? I'm a
the movie
vampire.
so bad they released it twice. Like, come
It's
on.
movie so bad it failed in theaters twice. Like,
D-
oh,
d-
it's so good.
It still
Oh.
tickles me that they basically gave a petition and it said we were busy that weekend.
Yep. Oh, so good. All right. Well, on that note, let's go watch the film.
Yep.
Welcome back. We've seen the movie. We have flown jets upside down a lot, corkscrewing
Yes.
some jets, drifting jets.
Yeah, I mean, Maverick's a one-trick pony. He goes between the jets over and over and over and over and over again.
He can't keep getting away with it.
Mhm.
Maverick, you're a loose cannon. All right,
Which
so we
is kind
watched.
of the whole point of this movie, I guess.
That's right. I'm glad. I think our predictions in the first part of this episode were not surprising, maybe unsurprisingly, completely accurate.
Semi-accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make another '80s action movie, you sort of have to follow the formula, and Maverick kind of follows the formula, which
Yes.
good and bad,
It,
you know.
it genuinely does.
Yeah.
I will say, I do love the fact that it starts exactly the same way. It's got the same music. It's got the
Yep.
same, like, except now it's HDified, like, shots of, like, the jets getting ready off a carrier ship, all that kind of stuff. Old school movie touch here, and the fact that it does the credits over the opening jet montage.
Yeah, I liked that.
There's a lot of jet montages in this.
That's fair. Yeah, but the opening one has some cool. So also, I still really like seeing the jets landing on the aircraft carrier and like hooking that line with the hook, and then just skirt, like doing that very sudden stop. It still looks cool.
Which is,
yeah.
From what I understand, that's also one of the hardest things on the planet to do.
Oh,
Because
I can't even imagine.
I can't remember the exact range, but it's like a 20-feet window essentially of wheels and hook down, and you're flying a fighter jet.
That's right, onto a boat. Like, yeah.
Gosh. Which we'll get to a really good line about that later.
Yeah.
So I want to just mention like the credits over the front sequence. It's like cool, you know, Ed Harris is in this. Yes, Val Kilmer's in this. Yes.
Yep.
Jennifer Connelly's been in this. It's been a while since I've seen her, but yes.
I was thinking that too, yeah.
And then it says Miles Teller. And I was like, "Oh no."
Okay.
So I have a particular problem with Miles Teller.
Oh no, okay.
And I'm sure he has a controversy section on Wikipedia, but it's not that in this case.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Career, personal life, filmography. No, I think we're good. All right. References. We're fine.
Okay. Okay. No controversy section on Wikipedia. Okay. So a long time ago, I went through a phase of watching underrated indie movies, basically movies that I hadn't heard about, things that like maybe the Banffcast would throw out in like a quick chat. And just be like, yeah, I watched this movie. It's kind of indie. It's kind of great. So I went through this whole phase of watching like lesser known indie movies.
Okay.
That includes things like The Darkest Nights or whatever it is, which unfortunately now is a Russian produced sci-fi alien movie, which is really, really good. And also things like, I can't even remember the other one I watched, but there was a great one I watched. And then I watched a movie called The Spectacular Now.
Okay.
The Spectacular Now is about a ne'er-do-well teenager in high school who needs help with his lessons. So he loops in the local nerd girl to help him. And they end up developing a relationship, except the ne'er-do-well is a severe alcoholic. And then loops the nerdy girl into the life of alcoholism and things like that.
Also, everybody is in this movie. Miles Teller, Shailene Woodley, Brie Larson, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Bob Odenkirk, Jennifer Jason Leigh. Like, What?
It it is a fantastically, horribly depressing movie. It should potentially go on our list of only watch this once kind of
Yeah,
things.
100%.
And Miles Teller is the alcoholic teenager in question.
Oh no. Okay.
And I literally can't stand him. And
Right.
I can't tell if it's because I don't like his face or I just don't like the fact that he's such a good actor that he made me hate him from the first thing I ever saw him in, which
Right.
was where he was an alcoholic teenager.
He was too good, and he was too good in the role and ruined it.
Someone gets hit by a car in that movie, dude. Like,
Oh
and
man.
it shows it, and it's visceral and bad, and it's just like, I
What is this?
hate
The
you,
Life is
Miles Teller.
Strange too? Heyo.
Oh, basically, yes. Dude, if you want a game with a similar like mouth
Oh, I
feel,
definitely do not.
then Spectacular Now should be on that list.
Man.
But
So
yeah,
you saw Miles Teller and you're like, oh no.
because I hate Miles Teller, and it's
Sure.
not his fault.
He's
But I
just too
also
good.
do get him. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get him frequently. Well, it is his fault, I guess. I get him frequently also confused with the guy who played the kid from Ready Player One and the
Oh, okay.
Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic Kid. Like
Mm-hmm.
they have very similar face structures, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
like the fact that I can't tell them apart. Um, and I don't like the fact that I hate Miles Teller. So I was not happy as soon as I saw his name in the credits, we'll say. I was like, oh,
Right.
great. Just
Goodness.
great.
Also,
Mm.
John Hamm showing up in here. I'm also another
Uh-huh.
person I haven't seen in a lot of things lately, other than Bridesmaids, which he was really good in.
True. But yeah, so like, that's my rant about Miles Teller and how much I hate him.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Highway
do.
to the Danger Zone, straight away. Yes.
Still a great song. I like rolled my eyes for a couple seconds because I'm like, oh, you're going back there again. And I was like, no, this is like your thesis statement of this movie of like, hey man, it's been 30 years. It's still the
Uh-huh.
same. Like for better or for
See,
worse, this dude is still the
you
same.
probably you probably rolled your eyes because you've got Archer saying it in your head.
Oh God, I don't want to talk about Archer. No, but I rolled my eyes because I was like, man, you're just like you got the shovel out and you're just mining this nostalgia, and then like 15 seconds later, I was like, no, that's the point. Like, I really quickly, that's the point of like, no, he isn't mining nostalgia. He's stuck in time. Like
Yes,
he's been this
it's
same dude
both.
for 30
It's
years.
yeah, it's literally it's hitting all nostalgia buttons, but it's also telling the story of the fact that Maverick cannot move on.
Right.
He cannot evolve past who he was at that time.
Right. He's still talking to Goose. He's still working on riding a motorcycle. He's still, doing
He
all the stuff
lives
he
in
did.
a hangar, my
Right.
dude.
Like, right. Like there's been no steps forward at all at any point, and
Uh-huh.
I think it's a pretty solid way of just saying like, yeah, we also loved Top Gun, but it's been 30 years and this dude is in the same place.
Yeah, I do like the fact that when it shows him waking up, it's like, oh, Nevada desert or whatever it is,
Hmm.
and it shows him open, like it's a backlit shot of like him or frontlit shot of him silhouetted opening the door onto the desert,
Hmm.
and then that's when it pans, it goes through the door, and it's like, no, he's literally living in an RV on a hangar.
That's right.
Like
This is his home.
that, this is terrible, and he's got like. It shows all of the nostalgia flashback goodness of.
Yeah.
I want to know how they got that screenshot from the movie because that's not a photo. That's a screenshot from a movie.
Hmm.
How is that now a photo? Does Top
Right.
Gun the movie exist in Top Gun's canon? I don't know.
Hey,
Um,
that's a level of Inception I'm not sure we're ready for.
yes. But yeah, it's like it's got that whole thing, and then that's when you see Miles Teller for the first time in the framed photograph on the Goose Memorial wall.
Very much like,
Um,
look at this kid. Wink.
uh-huh. Literally, my note says, "There's Miles. Is he Goose's kid?" Question mark.
Right.
And I will say, I thought the fact that he is a test pilot, it perfectly encapsulates where someone who of his career and
His experience.
recklessness
Yeah,
Yeah, someone of his character, we'll say, would end
sure.
up if they're not going to. You're not promoted, you're not demoted, you haven't been washed out yet. So what's
Right.
going on?
As they said
Um,
later, like, you should be a senator. You know, like,
yeah.
you shouldn't be here driving test planes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a test pilot. And can we just talk about how beautiful that plane is?
I mean, so much of the cinematography in this movie is really great, and so much of it it kind of lovingly treats these machines in a way that feels pretty interesting. And I think early on in the movie, I think it's probably about here. I'm just like, all right, you're treating these planes in a really interesting way and like shooting them really interestingly. Not like going too far about it, but there's
Uh-huh.
like a level of respect there of like, yeah, these are cool machines. They kill people, but like,
Look what we humans have done. We have
yeah,
gained the ability to fly. And
I want to get Austin Walker in here for this part. We made them
yes,
look like us. You know?
yes.
Yeah.
Well, like that plane that he's supposed to be doing the test flight for, like obviously I don't suppose you have, no, you probably don't. The name they give to the admiral who's coming to shut down the project.
Rear Admiral
Oh,
Chester Hammer Kane.
yeah, do they have his nickname that they give him? And
Oh
because
man, I don't
it's a
remember.
it's a really good line. Because he's a drone general. He's all about the drones.
Yeah, what it?
Um,
Yeah, this is so that this whole part is interesting because I I thought this was going to be the main crux of the conflict in this movie was old school versus new school. This like Red Dead Redemption,
mhm.
like the old way is going away. You're a dinosaur, Tom Cruise. Drones are the future. And I was kind of surprised that that wasn't really the we'll talk about later, but we predicted it was going to be the Russians, but that
They
also
literally don't give a name.
yeah, like there's no name or a country or anything. So I was kind of surprised that they didn't not really take the easy way out, but they have two good villains they could have used and they didn't really, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Mhm. I
Um
wish I could. I wish I would have made that note because it's like the Dronio or something like that. Like
mhm,
they give him some pun of the word drone, but yeah, the general's on his way to shut it down. He's not arrived yet.
right.
Um, so Maverick, being of course being Maverick, his response is, "Well, he's not here yet."
Right, and he's just like, "Let's do it. Let's get the stuff on."
So he gets in the plane, and I don't like this movie, and sometimes American culture at large wrestles with my nature quite a bit because I am someone who firmly believes that everybody has a right to live.
Right.
Um, you can have your horrible opinions as long as you don't use things like that to harm other people. It's whatever.
Mhm.
Let people live their lives is the general thought I have about that. But at the same time, mechanically and fundamentally, I love technology and design
Right.
like aspects. So looking at this plane that he's about to do this Mach 10 test flight on,
Right. Mach
it
10. Like the hell.
like it is a beautiful thing that will be used if it's successful to destroy human lives.
Right.
But at the same time, it's the mechanical, the engineering, the design of the thing that I just can't help but like I said, look at what we've done. Like look
Mhm.
at what as a species humans have done. We have the ability to fly without wings. Like that
Yeah, you
is
can't help but be amazed by it for better or for worse.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
mechanically speaking, a gun is an insanely like admirable invention.
Mhm.
The usage of it is the problem.
Right.
Like it's that weird counterbalance in my brain where it's like, this is cool and sick as hell.
Hmm.
Oh no, it's going to be used to drop nukes,
Right.
essentially.
And I think part of the thing that I thought was interesting here is I think it's shot really cool here for the Mach 10 test. Um,
Hmm.
I
The scale is insanely good.
Yeah, the scale's really good. The way they shoot in the cockpit is really great, and I like that they don't shy away from Maverick doing the Maverick thing, where he's like, "Hell yeah, we hit Mach 10." Just a little bit
Just a
more,
little push.
just a little bit, and it's just like, "Yep, you
It's
messed it up, man."
and I like the fact that like I don't know if it's the same guy who goes with him to the Top Gun school,
Mm-hmm.
but the guy who's working with him who like is getting him prepped for it looks like he's the head of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, look, the contract stipulates Mach 10. Not 10.1, not 10.2,
That's right.
10.
Right. Just be
Like he
cool about it,
knows
man.
he knows Maverick, and I love the fact that he knows that Maverick's the type of person who's gonna see that and he's gonna go, I can do 10.1.
I can do 10.2. Come on.
Uh-huh.
And
Just,
I
and just a little push is such a good line as well.
Yeah. And I like that it just immediately blows up in his face. Because, like, you had this thing working, and it worked really well, and it seemed like it was stable. Just had to push it a little bit, and it blew up. Like, you
Uh-huh.
destroyed this incredibly cool thing, and then let that hammer guy be like, well, told you. You know,
Yep.
I was right. Bring out the drones.
Mach 10, by the way, is 700 miles an hour.
God, that's wild,
Uh-huh.
man.
Like, so yeah, he pushes it, the plane basically disintegrates,
Hmm.
and it again, the shots, like the big turn that he does in the plane, like the what looks like space view essentially of
Hmm.
him coursing through the atmosphere and like this hypersonic plane.
Yep.
It's really well shot. I love the turn. I love like all of that is amazingly shot. And when it blows up, I love the fact that it's just a fireworks on the horizon. It's not a
Hmm.
big dramatic thing. It's just fireworks on the horizon,
Yep.
and then it cuts to the diner.
Right. This feels like it's very much out of the 80s in a way that I really respect. And
Uh-huh.
the the good comedic timing here is pretty solid, and capped off nicely with the kid saying Earth, and then just them cutting. Like they don't need
Yeah.
to do anything else. They got the joke and they dropped it. And I think we don't see
Uh-huh.
that a ton because normally we'd have like the DreamWorks productions like one eyebrow cocked, like what sort of thing. It's just like, no,
Yes.
get out of there. That's the joke. So
Uh-huh.
appreciate that.
But yeah,
Um,
Ed Harris basically says, yeah, I'm gonna send you up to North Island, I think it's called.
yeah, North Island.
And then
Uh,
Maverick gives him this look, is it, huh? Huh?
what's up on North Island?
Oh,
And
he knows because he was there.
yeah, we find out that that Iceman is kind of saving his butt again.
Saving his career again
Right.
for who knows how many times. Um, so yeah,
And
he gets sent back to Top Gun.
I like that when he runs into John Hamm's character and the other guy. I don't know what the call sign was of the other guy. Um,
Oh crap, I forgot already as well.
that the John Hamm is Cyclone, and I don't remember who the other one was. Um, I like that John Hamm's character is like, look, man, I hate you. Like, I don't want you to be here. I don't want to work with you. I'm not even gonna be impressed by literally anything you've done. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I don't want you here. You have a very powerful friend, and I
Warlock, by the way.
Warlock. Thank you. I knew he had a cool name. Um, but like, I don't want you here doing this mission. I should be doing it instead. Also, you suck and you dress funny, so like, get out of my face. You have like 3 weeks. So
Yeah, and was it Ed Harris who gave him the rundown? Of yeah, you no, no, it wasn't. Was it Ed Harris or was it this guy?
I
Whoever
think
gave
there's
him the rundown of like, look, You should be a 2-star general or a senator by now.
That was my favorite one. Like, you should be a 2-star general or a senator. And I was just like, yeah, man, probably. You're right.
Uh-huh.
Um, and he, they all kind of collectively run down that there is a, what do they call it? It's a uranium enrichment plant.
Uh-huh.
Somewhere run by
They,
someone.
they literally, who are you, Orange Cassidy all of a sudden?
Yeah, some people doing bad stuff with nuclear things. Um,
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like they had the chance to draw to we completely missed on this prediction. Like,
mhm.
is it going to be the Russians? Is it going to be unnamed Middle Eastern like state
Right,
or
a PMC.
something like that?
Right.
And it turns out it's nobody. They literally never say
Yep.
who it is.
And
The
really,
enemy is how
really
they refer to
impressively,
them.
when they fight the fifth generation fighters at the end, fully their face is fully covered, so it's not even there's not even a
Uh-huh.
hint of who it could be, and I think that's really impressive because in so many of these movies, unfortunately, a lot of times it's just like, well, they're brown people, and it's just like,
Yes.
yeah, that's bad. And I really appreciate that they went to great lengths to not name anybody. I think that's really impressive.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I, I I like the fact that like he they pulled this back from Top Gun 1, which I'm pretty sure I think it's the MiGs in Top Gun. When you
mhm,
see the pilot screens in Top Gun 1 of the enemy fighters, they have
mhm.
the same black helmets, black masks, black visors, no
Yep.
visible features at all.
Yeah.
Which is that feels like a very anime thing, if I'm completely honest. We're just gonna
That's
make the
true.
villains like
Yeah.
not humanize them in the slightest by making them
Right.
just black faces,
I mean, that
but
probably has its own.
phrasing.
That's true. I guess that has its own problems of kind of like dehumanizing the enemies, but I think
Uh-huh.
with how it usually goes, I feel like I would probably take this instead. Um, so
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that the other fighters don't have there is no flags, there is no
right,
markings of anything or of
right,
distinguishing nature on their gear,
yeah,
which is pretty
I
cool.
appreciate that. Um, and I like that they break it down of like there's this plant. There's a we can't fight because there's a bunch of SAMs there. They have GPS jammers, the fifth generation fighter. Ooh, fifth generation fighters. And
So
it's like,
if you're not in the loop for fighter jets, which again mechanically it's one of those things that intrigues me,
mhm.
whenever because the EU came together and basically all funded the design for new fighter jets,
Oh,
and
okay.
some of these things are insane.
Hmm. And
Like,
I like that we don't see them or hear about any capabilities until they run into them at the end of the movie. So they are
uh-huh.
totally unknown. And then when they pull some sick air maneuvers, you get the
Yeah, we'll
one
get
F
there.
dropped, and
Yeah.
I like that there's the boogeyman in this movie. The villain is the fifth generation fighters. It's not the country or the pilots or the ideologies or anything, which I think is a cool thing. But and I like too that the suicide
They
mission nature of the mission is put up almost immediately of John Hamm's
yeah,
character being like, they're not, some people aren't going to make it home.
I love the fact that they bring him in and they're like, okay, this is the mission. How would you run it?
Yep.
And you could tell he's got years of like career handling of this kind of stuff because he's like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, this wouldn't be a problem for the stealth, but the problem is the jamming is going to get in the way of that stuff. So,
Mm.
I mean,
Oh
technically
yeah,
an
because
F-18,
he lays out. He's like, I do this with this many people in this formation. We need this. Probably need some backups. And he like he
he
without
breaks the mission down.
yeah, like immediately. And they're like, yeah, cool, but like, how would you teach it though? And he's like, oh, I'm not gonna run
Oh,
it.
yeah, because he's like, yeah, obviously I'd be one pilot, but I don't know who I'd trust enough to be the three other pilots.
Hmm.
And their response is, "Oh, no, no, no.
Sorry, I think you
You don't get to go.
misunderstand.
You get to teach. You're going
Yeah.
to teach this mission." And I like the fact that they're teaching the mission to former Top Gun graduates.
Yes,
Like,
which I think is like the
he's,
best of the best of the people that made it to graduation.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
you're going to take that field and turn it into six.
Right.
So
Yeah,
you
because they
got
have
12,
yeah,
make
because they give him
six.
12, and they're like six need to be four need to run, two need to be in reserve, and six won't make it. Um, which I thought was pretty good because it's nice to see that you get all 12 people and you see a bunch of them, but it's interesting to see all the six that are going to make it pretty much come out on top immediately.
Yeah.
And
Which
then
I think, does that bring us to the pool scene? Oh,
uh
I will say I did like the fact that he says he was a teacher and he didn't last. He was basically there for 2 months and then they kicked him out of the school.
yep, it was really good. I thought this was where we go to the bar.
Yes, this is the
Okay.
bar with the pool. When I say pool, I don't mean water pool. I mean
Oh, okay.
shooting pool.
Yeah, I
Um,
had to laugh as soon as the bar showed up on screen. I was just like, "Our Moon was right." You were just like, I feel like we see a lot in the bar," and I was like, "That probably about a third of the movie takes place in this bar at
uh-huh.
this point." So,
Which looks
um,
like it got upgraded since the last movie, if I'm going to be completely honest.
yeah,
Quite
30 years has been pretty
significantly.
good to this
Uh-huh.
desert bar. Um,
And this is also where we meet Penny, who I did some research on. Jennifer Connelly is not in Top Gun.
right, which is a part that I watching this, I was like, man, I like Jennifer Connelly. She's great and everything. I don't remember her in the first one, and she was not.
So she wasn't.
Right.
However, during the whole film, they are constantly referencing Top Gun Maverick having dated an admiral's daughter,
Mm,
who he took and flew in an F-14,
right, right,
called Penny.
right.
So this is the admiral's daughter that he used to date before he got on well with his psychiatrist,
Mm-hmm. Right. That's a
who,
good little
who also
connection
happens
there.
to own a Porsche, by the way, for some reason.
Right.
I don't know
Yeah.
why.
I don't understand that. Yeah. But yeah, this whole scene is pretty interesting. Seeing him kind of reconnecting and then uh getting in not trouble at the bar, but just the bar being like, there are rules here and it's
Uh-huh.
okay that you don't know them, but we're still gonna
Enforce them.
take the piss out of you a little bit here. um
Yeah, like what is the rule? It's like, no, don't insult the bar staff, don't insult women, or don't harass bar staff, insult bar staff, harass women, or put your cell phone on my bar.
Something like that, yeah. Yep.
Otherwise, and if you do any of these things, you buy everyone around. So she
Right.
rings the bell, and everyone, the bar is empty at the time.
Right.
Like there's like 10 people in there.
Yep.
She rings the bell, and everybody cheers and says, like, "It's not my fault you don't know the rules." Shows him
That's
the
right.
sign, and he
That's right.
picks up his cell phone, which he's got literally sitting on the bar top, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, okay." And
Yep.
her response is, "Be thankful it's not like evening time or something like
Right.
that."
Yep. And I
And yeah,
think
we
that
get introduced to the kids. I'm
yeah,
referring to them as kids because they are all young.
yeah, and I kind of liked how they had it feels a pretty natural introduction to all of them outside of the classroom and the school stuff. And I like
Yeah,
we get
because
this
you could tell some
introduction.
of these have history as well.
Yeah, and you don't need to spend a ton of time on each person's history because even within a couple sentences, you know exactly they're all kind of fitting into the tropes that they're going to fit into, which is fine. But I like that they're just like, yeah, here's the quiet nerdy guy. His call sign's Bob. His name is
Yeah.
Robert. You know, like
Hmm.
you know all these characters already.
Uh,
Um,
Hangman immediately establishes himself as the Maverick of the group,
yep.
which is kind of cool. And the banter between all of them is so very real in
Hmm.
that obviously there's a lady in this group, but in that testosterone-filled way of the original Top Gun movie, of like,
Right.
yeah, we're all competing here, so we're all gonna put our line in the sand and pee of
Yeah,
who is the
all the peacocks are out with their feathers up, being like, "I'm the best." No, I'm the best. No, you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, Bob's introduction is great. I love the fact that they're like, "Well, who's this guy?" And it's like, "When did you get here?" He's like, "I've been here the whole time."
Yep. Yeah. There's I don't remember what the line was, but there's a really good one where it's just them talking about him being quiet and he doesn't get the joke and he's like, "Okay, humorless too, but okay." Um, and
He's a
I
stealth pilot. He's a
There it is.
stealth pilot,
Yep.
and he's like, "No, I'm actually a
I'm a
gunnery."
weapons officer. Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's like,
and like,
"Okay."
well, sense of humor too. Great.
That's right. It's pretty good. Um and is this where Maverick gets kicked out of the bar as well?
No, he gets kicked out in a little bit, but before he gets
Okay.
kicked out is when Rooster shows up.
Yeah, and Maverick's like, "Oh boy, that looks just like
He's
Goose."
yeah, because he gets kicked out because he's trying to get out the door because Rooster knows what he looks like. He knows what Rooster
Hmm.
looks like, so
Oh,
he's
and
trying to get
Maverick can't
out the
pay
door,
either.
and his card gets declined.
That's right.
That's why he gets kicked out.
That's right. Yeah. I also love the like good naturedness of all the pilots carrying him out and throwing him out. It's just like, yeah, man, we've all been there. It's all good. Like I don't care
It's
how many
it's
stripes you got, but get out of here.
it's also cool the fact that Hangman is one of them. Like Hangman
Yes.
and his co-pilot are one of the ones throwing him out, not
Hmm.
realizing that he's going to be there tomorrow to teach them.
Yep. That was really good. And then we get a little is
The
this the
flashback montage.
yeah, the Great Balls of Fire kind of flashback, like I miss
Uh-huh.
you, Goose. That kind of scene, which is if you hadn't put it together by this point, you probably figured it out at this point. So
Yeah, and also
um,
Penny clicks. Like it clicks with Penny because he's standing there and the look on his face is not Maverick-esque.
mm,
Which I do like the fact that several times they make the joke of "I don't like that look on your face," and he's like, "It's my face."
that's right. It's the only one I
Like,
got.
because I get that a lot too, as someone who
Yeah.
has resting B face.
Yep. Ditto.
I I frequently go, what's up with your face? Nothing. It's just my face.
It's just how I look, you jerk. Um,
Uh-huh. But yeah, Penny clicks and does the flat like I think she's the one who's giving it away to the audience, where she's looking at him and then looking at Rooster. I keep on calling him Goose.
mhm,
Um, and like everything clicks with that.
right. Um, there's also, I think that after that, I think that's when we move to
It's the first lesson, yeah.
yeah, introductions, first lesson, get in the air. You're going to be competing against me, comma Maverick. And this is
Oh
where we
yeah, like I love the fact that he's like, yeah, you'll know this book, throws it in the trash, and is like, you know what you're capable of. Now I
mhm.
want you to show me what you're capable of, because I want to show you what you're not capable of.
Right, and it's like we all know the book, we know the plane, whatever. I like the John Hamm's characters when he throws the book away. It's John Hamm's
It's
characters like
so
he's so
so
angry,
mad.
and it's like I feel like you should
Hmm.
know who this dude is at this point. I feel like someone should have told you. Iceman at least should have been like, he's a loose cannon. Give me your badge
She
and your gun.
knows. He
Yeah,
literally gave him a talking down the very first time that they had the
right.
conversation.
Yeah,
But yeah, this is the Maverick versus the flight teams
right.
sequence, which I think it's Hangman's gunner. It
Hmm.
says, "Yeah, why don't we make it interesting and have 200 push-ups
Right.
per whoever dies first?"
Yep. Isn't that
And
fanboy?
yes, fan.
Okay.
I didn't wait. No, I think fanboy might be one of the other ones.
Okay, maybe he's one of the
Fanboy is one of
reserve
the other
ones.
pilots.
Yeah, because
Um,
it's what's her name? Phoenix. Phoenix and Bob are together, right?
that's such a good team.
Yep. Phoenix and
Because
Bob, and it's
my
Hangman and
favorite part of that team is because Phoenix doesn't take crap from anybody, and shout outs to this lady as well, just like
what's her name?
completely owning a room full of men.
Yeah,
Monica
Monica
Barbaro,
Barbara. Yeah, I don't think I've seen her in anything. No.
she's so good. I think Payback is Hangman's gunnery
Okay.
guy.
Yeah, that sounds right. Um,
But yeah, like they make the bet, and like maybe he doesn't make the bet. Maybe it's Rooster's gunner who does it, because Rooster's up first, and Rooster is one of the people who gets killed first
mhm.
because he saves the other people from being killed first.
Yeah,
He
right.
comes in and stops the lock, and then he's doing the push-ups, and that's when Hangman and his crew walk past and do like the
It,
selfie
do
with
the
him
yeah.
doing the push-ups.
Yep.
And then immediately they get owned as well. And then
Mhm.
the Hondo who is like what looks like his chief, his assistant essentially.
Right.
Hondo's like, yeah, that selfie joke's not
That's
looking so
right.
good now, is it? And it's just
That's
like,
right.
yeah, that's right. Put him in his place, please.
Yeah. This is a pretty good montage, I think, of Maverick kind of getting one over on all of these people by kind
Hmm.
of thinking outside of the box and showing them like, I am better than you, but I don't have to be. And
Hmm.
you need to
So
shut up and listen to me.
they also like Maverick also makes this point a lot. Like when he breaks down the mission, that he's like, look, I've
Hmm.
done this, and I've done this, but never all at once.
Right.
And then he's talking about like teaching the kids, and Maverick's point is like, these are all people who have flown jets high altitude, dropped bombs, and gone home.
Yeah.
None of them know anything about dogfighting, anything at all.
Yep.
Like, this is
Especially
where the problem is.
especially not like racing through a valley and then up and over and back over a mountain range. Like none of this
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
yeah. It's just a montage of him beating them time and time again.
Yep.
The push-up line gets bigger and bigger and bigger,
Hmm.
and
And
then
it gets
Rooster
later
goes
in the
back.
day.
Yeah, Rooster goes back up for part two,
Hmm.
and my note here says this is the mating dance of the fighter planes. Um,
Sort of this corkscrew into the ground dance
yeah,
they're
because
doing.
it's this cool move where he starts with like they're talking about where Maverick is, and he's like, "Oh, I was here all along," and then instead of doing the fast split, he loops from
Hmm.
underneath,
Nothing
and
personnel, kid.
he's looking up
Hmm.
at
And Rooster gets
Rooster, who,
so pissed.
and he's like, "I'm right here. I see
Hmm.
you. I'm right here. What are we gonna do? Your move, kid."
Right.
Um, and they do the is it falcons that have that mating dance where they spin around together
I
before they
think
hit the
so.
floor and loop out?
Yeah.
That's why I literally wrote the mating dance of the fighter planes.
But like, man, this scene is so intense
It's
and
uh-huh,
altitude. I'm like, please stop, please
uh-huh.
stop. Ha cha
Pull
cha.
up, pull up,
That's right. Like, please pull up. Oh my god. Um,
and they break
very
the hard
effective.
floor frequently,
Yep.
which results in at the end of the day, Maverick gets a talking to from
John
John Hamm
Hamm.
again.
John Hamm is just like, dude, for real.
Yes,
Like, are
it's
we?
like
Am I gonna keep calling you into my office every day? What is wrong with you?
yes, 100% yes.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that like they're having this whole conversation. He's like, your job is to teach these kids to fly this mission.
Hmm.
And then Maverick finishes with, and to come home alive. And then they
John
say
Hamm is
nothing.
like scratching the back of his neck, being like, but funny story about that one. Maybe not?
Hmm.
Question mark.
Yeah. And he's like, and to come home alive, sir? With a question mark at the end of it.
Right.
And so, they start doing the whole training runs
Hmm.
with the stuff we did. There's a big sequence here with Mav spending time with Penny.
Yep.
Penny's kid is at the bar when Mav shows up one day to pay his tab,
Yep.
and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm teaching." And he's like, "What are you now, an admiral?" And he's like, "No, captain." And she goes, "Still?" And it's like an 11
Even
year
the
old
kid is
girl.
just like, for real, man? Like, come on.
Literally, my note says even Penny's kid knows that Mav sucks.
Yep. I think we
Uh,
also get a little bit of info
the
about Rooster's mom during some of this stuff.
Not yet. That is
Okay.
later. This is
Okay.
the Penny and Mav dating on a boat sequence, with
Oh.
the possibly the line of the movie
Uh-huh.
with "Aren't you in the Navy? I don't sail ships. I land on them."
It's pretty good. I also like that there feels like there's a lot of unscripted stuff in here because it felt very much like, look, here are your primary lines, but you're sailing a boat for real, so just kind of try and get a scene done in there. And I like there's a point where Tom Cruise seems like he almost falls off the boat, and
Oh,
Jennifer Connelly
100%.
is just like, "Are you okay?" And then like he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then she kind of like goes back to her lines, which is pretty good. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, they start the simulated runs for the mission where they're doing the valley section first.
Yep.
They're breaking it down. Nobody can do the valley section. Nobody is quick enough to do it.
Yep.
The recommended mission time is like 3 minutes, I think, or 2:30 or 3 minutes.
I think it starts at 2:30 because later on that time goes up by quite a bit.
Yeah, because I think it's 2:30 is the one Maverick recommends, but he says while we're training, we're going to do 3 minutes and a slower speed, just so we
Right.
can get used to this kind of
And
thing.
even the slower speed, they're just like, wait, how
They
fast?
can't do it.
That's right.
And this is another great montage. Again, a movie full of montages, inspired by the 80s.
It's an 80s movie, baby.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, you're dead. Why are you dead? Why are they
Yeah.
dead? And
This is a great
this
scene.
this speaks to the character growth of Maverick as a human, maybe not as a pilot, but as a human, where he says, they're dead. Why are they dead? They're dead because you didn't communicate that you were going to brake and slow down. They had to float over you. They hit the SAM sites. Now they're dead. What are you going to say?
Yeah.
And he starts to say something, and then Maverick interrupts with, to their family at their funeral.
Yeah, like, give me an excuse their family will believe. And I'm like, oh, God. Okay. Yeah, and like, even that shuts up Hangman. Like, that's the thing that's just like, oh, man, you're right.
And you get the feeling that that's because he had nothing to say at Goose's funeral. He could not explain it in a way that made sense to Goose's family.
Right.
Which is, it's just, that scene is his development as a human, not as a pilot. Definitely not as a pilot. He's still
That's not
the
gonna
same
happen.
pilot.
Yeah.
But him as a human is that
Right.
great moment there.
Something,
And
at
this is
least
where-
something happened in the last 30 years.
Yeah. And this is where he goes to see Ice, which is a heartbreaking scene because I did research and Val Kilmer actually has throat cancer. And
Oh, really?
literally can't talk.
Right.
I will say, generally speaking, if you listen to us on a regular basis, you understand our opinions on AI and things like that. They got Ice's voice in the movie using AI renderings of Val Kilmer's voice from previous movies.
Interesting. I was wondering how they did that.
Here is the difference between its normal usage and this. You're using it to give a voice to the same person who you're teaching the AI from,
right,
in a role where he can't talk.
Like and also there's a level of consent there of like, yeah, I'm going to give you the permission as part of this movie to recreate my voice based on my voice to give this character my voice. Like there's a pretty clear difference there.
Yeah, exactly. And also I don't think I've ever seen a more emphatic point, like finger point ever, where he goes in to see Ice, and Ice is obviously at his desk, and he types out on the screen, "I want to talk about work," and Mav's like, "Look, dude, whatever. I'm here to. What do I need you? What can I do for you?"
Yeah.
And Iceman just points at the screen again, and it's this emphatic point.
Yeah,
and it's
this like
so
throat
good.
clearing point of like, ahem. Yeah.
That scene breaks my heart, like, because
it's really good.
It's a great scene all the way through.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, they use AI for Val Kilmer's voice, which is fine because he was clearly okay with it.
Yeah.
And again, ending the scene with a punch where Val Kilmer says to him, "Who's the better pilot?" And Tom Cruise responds with, "This is a beautiful moment. Let's not ruin it."
It's really good. And I like that Maverick doesn't pull punches. He's just like, we're having such a nice moment, Iceman. Like, let's not ruin it. It's just like, you can't even, this dude is dying, and you can't even be like, give him the last one, but like, you were the right one all along. He's just like, I'm not gonna say it out loud. Like, that's really good.
Yeah.
And it's like the right amount of levity to kind of bring you back up from that scene being pretty emotionally rough.
Yeah, and you can't help but think like the character development of the pair of them over the intervening years.
Yeah.
Iceman's gone on to be a general, an admiral,
Hmm.
and Mav is still a captain stuck in the same role. You know they have beers frequently. Like they always like hang out and see each other.
Yeah.
Um uh the hypersexualized beach scene appears again. Boston.
Dude, I love this scene so much. Is
I
it?
was so confused. I was so confused. I'm not gonna lie.
We talked in the first part about like, man, what is, because I don't even think in the intro of this episode, I don't think we thought, are they going to have another volleyball scene? It was just, what is the volleyball scene going to be? And boy, they busted out all the stops for this one. This just like this
Uh-huh.
sunset Grecian, slicked up soccer
Uh-huh.
game.
Oh, hey, it's football, but
Sorry, American football, yeah.
it's dogfight football where they're playing offense and defense at the same time. I was so confused until he explained it as that. I was
Hmm.
like, okay, now I get it.
I
Now
even
I
like
get it.
that there's like who's winning, and he's like, we stopped keeping score a long time ago.
Uh-huh. He's like, you wanted a team. Here is your team.
Yeah,
And Goose picks up Mav at one point. Well, not Goose. I did it again. A rooster picks up Mav.
little goose.
Um,
Yeah,
which is it's a nice little solid moment of that like
right,
development.
right,
And yes, this is the Penny leaves the door open, spending time together at night while the kids at somebody else's school. This is where we get the conversation about Brewster's mother, like didn't
right,
want him to enlist.
right.
So he pulled his papers, which stopped him from being able to go to the school, to Navy
Right.
Academy.
Which Rooster said like put him back for years.
Yeah, and Mav
Yeah.
says like 4 years minimum is what he put
Right.
him back.
Right.
But Mav has never said he did it because that's what his mother said before she died.
Right.
So it's this interesting thing of like, yeah, I think that it's a great line when he says, "What? Tell him so he can resent her as well." Like
Yeah, like there's a
he
reason
already
he's
resents
like,
me.
yeah, it's like it's okay if he hates me. I just don't want him to hate his mom. Yeah. I think that's again, I think that's a little bit of
Human development.
yeah, and like him being at least a little bit of a grown up when it matters.
Uh-huh. It's
Yeah.
really, really good. But I do like the fact that Penny leaves the door open. That's a really good little thing where she just goes in and leaves the door open
Hmm.
and continues walking. It's like, okay, like nice cinematography, nice way of showing consent without literally
Right.
saying consent. And he goes out the window and he's caught by the kid,
Right.
which it's I like they're like teenagers. Like they are literally
Right.
like teenagers running around, and he's climbing out the window,
He falls
and
off
then
the
when he
side of the house.
having a little laugh and giggle to himself, and then
Hmm.
as he stands up, like the kid is right there,
Right.
and the kid's response is like, "Yeah, dude, just don't break her heart again." Because it's
Yeah.
like, okay, because she mentions that when they first meet, like you were there, then you were off to Bosnia, then you were back, then you went to Iran or Iran twice. Like
Right.
they have had ons and offs for decades. It feels like,
Hmm.
and we know that Mav isn't her actual dad because he gets a throwaway mention. Oh, he's in Italy with his wife.
Right.
So yeah, do they now do the sim missions for the dive section?
Yeah, like the
of it?
diving and bombing and climbing part.
Yeah, because they haven't completed part one, but the refinery is ahead of schedule, so they need to jump onto the next section.
Yeah, the schedule gets pushed up by a week.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And Bob and Phoenix almost die, as
Yeah.
does Payback, I think. Payback is the one who he wakes up with Tone, which is a genius idea.
Hmm.
Like, if you're a fighter pilot, you're trained to listen for that tone and do everything
Yeah.
it takes. And
If
if you
something's
lose
gonna wake you up.
consciousness, yeah, if you lose consciousness, having a tone is probably the best bet for you to get
Yeah.
up, open and at him kind of thing.
I was initially a little bit confused about this scene because Phoenix and Bob eject successfully, as much as the movie is like trying to play out that they might not.
And they get hit by bird strike. Like they don't
Yep.
get damaged on the thing. They literally get hit by bird strike, which is terrifying when you see it from a
Yeah.
from a jet
There's
plane
so many birds,
perspective.
man. Like, yeah, that was it was kind of cool that there was like, all right, we're done with, this dude woke up, we're done with this mission. We all are a little crispy. Let's all go home. And then they get hit by a bird, and almost both of them almost die, and they successfully eject. But then that moves right into Iceman's funeral, which
Hmm.
I was confused for a minute because I'm like, no, they both ejected. Neither one of them passed. Oh, it's Iceman's funeral, right? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and with
super
that,
sad.
his protection is gone. Like
Yep.
like, did you notice the missing man formation that we talked about during Critical Misses season 1, episode 7? By the way, where the
No, I
jets fly
didn't.
over and then one peels upwards,
Oh no, I
um,
didn't even see
to
that.
to signify that they have left the flying formation,
Right. Interesting.
which is officially called the missing man formation, by the way.
Right. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And yeah,
Um,
Marv is grounded.
yeah, because like as soon as Iceman passes away, they're like, "All right, cool. Anyways, you are still the worst, and you continue to be the worst. So
Mm-hmm.
John Hamm, am gonna take over this mission. It's gonna go super smoothly. Everything will be fine."
Yeah, we're gonna go super slow.
Yep.
We're gonna get there super delayed.
You guys got
We're
in
gonna
4 minutes. 4 whole
Uh-huh.
minutes. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not gonna do the
And
upside down flippity do, and we're not gonna. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Sam missiles. Never heard of her. Don't worry about it.
yep.
It's gonna be
So
fine.
Maverick flies the course
Yep.
in 2:15. By
I
the way,
I really like this scene a lot because so much of it
it's
is
so intense.
so
Like,
much of it is just his breathing over the radio, and they're just watching the display. Like they're not even
uh-huh.
showing him in the plane flying the course. It's just watching that line and the picture of the plane and hearing that breathing. Like it's
Yeah, and when
really good.
it does like cut to him in the plane, it's always at the intense points. So like the inverse flip down over the
Hmm.
mountain, and it shows like the G forces pulling his face as he's
Yeah.
going upside down, and it does that the moisture spray off the
Hmm.
mist spray off the wings because it's a high intense turn. It's it's really well shot. It's super intense. I love the fact that the kids like start off being like, "Wait, what? Nobody can do it in 2:15."
And then they
And then
start
they,
getting more and more pumped.
it's like,
Yep.
because he has the conversation with John Hamm. Hamm is like, all you've done is shown them that it can't be done.
Hmm.
He's like, okay, then I'll show them it can be
I'll
done.
just go do it
And
then. No worries.
he does it, and he shows them it can be done in a
Yep.
spectacular fashion. Again, there is no threat. There is no people coming to shoot him out the sky, but the
Right.
intensity of this sequence is really solid.
Yeah.
Like, of him, can he do it? Is it possible to be done? Like, let's see.
Right.
And he does it. He pulls it off, and then my favorite part is like the conversation after the fact where he's like, "Look, congratulations, you put me in a bad situation here because you proved to the kids that it can be done.
Hmm.
You also ruined like $2 billion jet or whatever it is
Right.
beyond to the point where it's ever going to fly again. What do I do?
Hmm.
Do I ground you and send these kids on their way, or do I risk my career and make you the team leader for the mission?"
Right.
It's like, okay, he's flying the mission now. Who's he going to take with him?
Right. Yeah, because
It's really good sequence.
yeah, and I like that there's still this tension between Maverick and Rooster the entire time of just like Rooster saying like, I know you screwed me. Like I don't know why you did it. It would be nice to know, but I know that you did it and you really messed up my entire career. Like the one thing I wanted to do. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll fly this mission, but you can go to hell.
Yep. And he picks Rooster. He
Yep.
picks Phoenix and Bob, which is
Yep.
great.
Big shout outs to Bob.
Uh-huh. Bob might be my favorite like character
Bob's great.
in this entire movie, by the
Baby
way.
on board.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The mission sequence goes as expected with
Yep.
like catching up. Rooster's slow at first, but then he's like he gets the "don't think, do" conversation for like the fourth time, and then he
That's
goes
right.
like way faster than he probably should be.
Yep.
Um,
Also, really like the shots of everybody turning the plane and then flying under that bridge.
yes,
I'll always love that stuff of just like, whoa, we barely made it through. And it's like,
especially
yeah,
because
you did.
they don't know it's there, and
Yep.
then like literally Maverick's the first one to arrive. He's like, "Oh, heads up, heads up,
Hey, there's a
heads
bridge.
up, heads up, Phoenix."
That's right. That's right. Yep.
It's a really good like sequence, and like I love the fact that Rooster's second ends up going from "dude, we need to speed up" to "whoa, not that fast,
That's right.
please."
That's right.
Um, but yeah, they make it. They make the first shot, which is cool. Rooster manually makes the second shot because the laser system goes down,
Right. Right.
which is a nice little touch. And the whole this whole sequence is so tense because as soon as they start, they're like, "Look, there's the SAM site right there. There's another SAM site right there.
That
There's another SAM site right
that
there."
shot is
By the
really good
way,
of them like
it's
sneaking under them.
yeah, things
Yeah.
got real. Just so you know,
Hmm.
they're SAM missiles.
Yeah.
Now is make or break kind of moment. They fly the mission, whatever happens. The mission is tense, but my favorite part of this whole mission sequence is the end,
Hmm.
is when they hit the SAM range, and it's
Hmm.
just a defensive sequence.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about the fact that the fifth generation fighters are on scene.
They're
By the way,
scrambling.
yeah, because they are on like Troll and they're heading away.
Yeah, they're
Then they
going
turn
opposite
around.
directions. Yeah.
Yeah, they turn around when the missiles all hit the airport or the runway, so whatever. But that whole sequence when they get into the SAM, out of the mountain into the SAM range, and it's just like defensive chatter over one another constantly.
So it's so cool, especially like I'm always a sucker for the flares. When they shoot flares, like thoop,
Uh-huh.
thoop, 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 and I was like, yeah, that's the good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
confuse those missiles.
yeah, but it's like it's literally it's call outs, it's like bank left, bank right, this,
Yep.
that, the other, what can we do? And it's shot, it's just all of them all at
Yep.
once talking over each other on the radio. There isn't even a different plane, it's just the SAM sites, and
Yeah.
they're having this whole sequence. And Rooster runs out of flares.
Hmm.
So Mav does the Top Gun air brake maneuver and like
Right.
does the air brake over the plane, fires the flares as he's he's flying
Yep.
under him, and then catches a missile for it, which is just like, okay, cool.
Hmm.
And then, whatever, fly back. Rooster disobeys orders and goes back to help Maverick, who is alive,
Right.
and in the middle of the enemy's territory, I guess.
Right.
Hey, Boston.
Yeah.
It's a hind D.
Oh, indeed. I was really worried throughout this entire. As soon as they hit the ground, I was really worried this was going to turn into a Mission Impossible scene where it's like suddenly Maverick has a gun and they're like blasting their way through this thing. But I'm really glad that wasn't the case because that's not this movie. It's like no, I fly the planes. I'm not anything else. It's just like the on-ground version of I don't drive the boats, I land on them. Like
I do love that hind though, because that thing looks
it's really
terrifying.
great. It's really good.
Um,
That's a cool helicopter and terrifying.
And yeah, that they get the hind D gets shot down by Rooster, who's come back to rescue Maverick, who then Rooster gets shot down by a missile. He clearly ejects, so he's fine.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise running, scene number 2.
that's right.
The first scene was on the beach, by the way. I could tell because of the ribs exposed on his chest when he was running and on the beach.
He's not gonna fake a running scene. He's Tom
No.
Cruise.
100%. So he runs, he gets to the thing. And I like the fact he's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Yes. And he hits him so hard he falls over.
And I like immediately he's like, "Why was I sacrificing myself for you if you're gonna come back for me, stupid?"
And he literally says, "What were you thinking?" And Rooster's response is, "You told me not to think."
I'm doing what you told me to do.
At which point they both shut up and like, "Cool, what's the plan?"
Right.
The plan is they're gonna go steal an F-4, the old F-14.
Right. I love the like boomer millennial bait in this scene of like, it's so old. How am I gonna? Oh my god! It's like someone looking at a VCR. It's like, what am I supposed? How do I put the thing? This is how stupid is this? It's like, where's my phone? You know, it's that
Yeah,
the fighter pilot
like,
version of that.
yeah, and Tom Cruise is racking through his memories like, okay, if the radar's not working, hit breaker Hilo 254. And
Right.
Rooster's like, dude, there is a million breakers
There's
back
200 of
here.
these things, dude. Yeah. I did like all the shots of Rooster like pulling the cables and all the stuff out of the plane itself
Uh-huh.
as they're getting it ready, and kind of like pulling the tags off the missiles and everything. I liked that kind of action montage, you know, of like thoop, 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 like closing it up, getting it all ready. I liked that.
Yeah, I like why are the wings out, Maverick.
Just like peeking
It,
around the corner, like the kid in the backseat of like, what are we doing? Are we going to Wendy's? Why are we going on the
because
freeway? Like,
he's got no radar, he's got nothing.
yep.
Um, and as soon as they get airborne on the shortest runway ever,
Mm-hmm.
which is a taxi lane, but okay. As soon as they get airborne, he turns on his GPS corresponder on his vest, which I
Right.
like, and that flags up with everybody at home base. Like, wait, what? Like, he's hypersonic. Why is he?
That's right. He's
He's
alive.
flying,
He's flying? Yeah.
and
Um,
that's when John Hamm's like Maverick.
I, I swear to God.
Uh
Um,
huh. And
yeah,
yeah, we got the fifth generation fighters scene,
this
which
is a very cool scene, man.
uh-huh.
Just like, and like, we get this movie's PG-13, so we get the one F-bomb here when the fifth generation fighter does the like impossible flip and spin air drifting
Uh-huh.
drift brake control thing, and both of them are just like,
To evade a
dude,
missile.
yeah, and they're just like, dude, what is this thing? Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? We're flying a tub full of
Yes.
guns, and this thing is like a spaceship.
I like the it's not the plane, it's the pilot conversation they
Yep.
have when there's that super tense scene where the two planes are like getting in position just in case he's an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, look, if I wasn't here, you'd fight them. You wouldn't.
Also, I
None of
really,
this.
I really like the scene where the other pilots are like gesturing at him, and Tom Cruise is trying to do the like, my radio isn't working, and Rooster's like,
Hmm.
what's that sign? He's like, never seen it. He's like, what's that
Yep.
one? He goes, yep, don't know that one either.
Don't know that one either. Yep.
I
It's a
I
really good
like
scene.
I feel like that's the stuff that we found in the Mission Impossible season of when people can use Tom Cruise in that kind of dry comedic sort. I think that works really well to just bring a little levity to these
He's the
scenes.
straight man. He has
Yeah.
to be the straight man.
And if you can use that really well for just a little bit of comedy, like in this season or this scene, it breaks the tension just a little bit, so it's not ratcheting over and over and over again. I thought that part was really effective.
Yeah, I like the fact that he immediately takes out one of the planes with the surprise maneuver. I'm gonna break and then rake across you with the machine guns.
Hmm. And
Like
then
that's a great sequence.
the
The fight
dogfight with
sequence,
the other one,
it's really
it's
good.
it's really good because like that fifth generation fighter should have had him dead to rights so many times, and just
Awful.
the tension of him being able to wiggle out every single
Yeah,
time is
like he
so
does
good.
what he can up high, and then he's like, "Well,
Right.
we got no more flares, so we've got to go low so we can try and avoid confuse the guidance on his
Hmm.
weapons systems." And then it's this super like really tight knit thing. He does the air brake thing to get behind him, and
Hmm.
then that's when he fires the missiles and he does the matrix dodge of the
Right.
missile, which is
Right.
just it, I love. One of my favorite lines of this is, "Come on, Mav, do some of that pilot."
Right.
The Rooster yells from the back because he's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, like that you got it. This is what you got to do now."
Right. And I also like the countdown of bullets too, of
Uh-huh.
just like, I got a couple hundred, now I got 300,
And
now I have 33.
and dude, it's like that ticker thing. It's an old
Yep.
school ticker thing. It's not a display or anything like
It's
that.
not
It's
like
just like,
the thing from Aliens with the turrets where that's
uh-huh.
counting down. It's like, no, we've got like an analog thing here. And the thing I like the most about this is Maverick doesn't win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Maverick doesn't succeed, and the two of them almost die. And so they're saved by the most insufferable man in a plane that could possibly save him. Um, which is,
I like the fact that they finally get they kill those two. Then they're on the way back to the ship, and they get tone, and they're trying to figure out where the tone is coming from. And it's like,
mm-hmm,
oh, he's on our nose, and he's flying directly at them.
mm-hmm.
Um,
It's
the
really good.
speed and the ease of which those fighters turn is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like the new ones,
Yeah.
like because he literally flies. They fly over each other, and then the turn that he does is just so quick and
Yep.
sharp to come back behind them.
It's like a
And then yeah,
wipeout air brake thing, which is they're racing in the year 3500.
and then yeah, the hangman comes along, and right as the fighter fires its missile, he catches it with the explosion.
Yep.
He shoots the plane and the missile that's just being
It's
fired.
really good.
It's a great sequence, and then yeah, the montage back on the boat or on the ship, I should say, not the
Yep.
boat, of them all like saying hi, being happy and stuff like that, and Hangman's like, "That's two confirmed kills. Thank you
That's
very
right.
much.
That's right.
It's two,
That's right.
two.
Yeah.
That makes me the best,
That's
by the way."
That's right. Yeah, I like this whole kind of everybody made it home kind of sequence, and I like that the rest of the movie is basically like Rooster and Maverick are kind of buddies now. You know, Maverick's showing Rooster the ropes. They've got the picture of the mission successful picture next to all the other pictures. Like I like
Yeah,
that they've come to
they're
terms at the
working
end.
on what looks like the Spitfire together, which I
Yeah.
really like.
Yep. Yeah. And it's a cool little like things are okay. You know, like
I
things got there.
I like the fact that Mav goes to talk to Penny and Penny's not there, and
Mhm.
then Penny shows up at his place rather than the other way around, which is a nice
Yes.
little touch.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's credits there.
Uh-huh.
Let's
It's
go
a
through
great movie.
let's go through the ratings real quick, otherwise I feel like I'm going to forget. IMDb of 591,000 ratings. Came out last year, remember, at an 8.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, tomato meter is 96% out of 469 reviews. Over 50,000 people for audience score reviewed it at 99%. And Letterboxd, 8.2 thousand people at 4.1 out of 10. Sorry, out of 5. Do that every episode. My bad. Those aren't too surprising based on the immediate sort of critical and fan response after this movie was in theaters. It's just like, this movie's incredible. You need to go see it.
Yeah.
And I think I would agree. This movie is
Yeah.
really great.
It's surprisingly deep for a sequel to Top Gun. Like,
Yeah.
let's get that out the way. Like, there's a lot of human moments in this that I feel like Top Gun 1 was kind of missing a little bit of.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, like Maverick developed as a human. He did not develop as a pilot, but he's definitely a better human than he was in the first one.
Right.
It's really solid the whole all the way around.
Yeah. I think the thing that impressed me the most is this beat for beat, this really is an 80s movie. You're just kind of replacing some of the elements along the way, and I think it works surprisingly well because part of its appeal is it feels kind of cozy in the way of like, yeah, it's a good 80s movie. You got a lot of montages, you got a lot of action scenes, you got some fun. The teacher is sort of slapping around the students in a way that feels satisfying, but everybody wins at the end. I think that is kind of fun.
America wins in the end.
That's right. Most importantly to this movie, America wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this movie going into it, and I feel like I came out of it feeling a lot more positively than I was
A
expecting.
hundred
Like,
percent.
it's really well directed. The cinematography through the entire
It's
thing is
insane.
so outstandingly good. And it's not even just like here's a fighter plane flying through the sunset. That's always going to look cool. But like so much of it looked so good and it was so well done. And in one of those movies, this is what 130 minutes long. Yeah, 130 minutes, and boy, this movie just cooked the entire time. Like really, just a really great action movie. And
Yeah, and to be honest, I might argue that this makes Top Gun better.
mm,
Like, it's one of those weird instances where like you watch a sequel and then go back and watch the first one, and I think this might actually make Top Gun 1 a better movie by
mm,
the fact that this showing the human character development of everybody throughout.
yeah, it kind of rounds out the whole thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I liked
It's a
Maverick a
really
lot.
good movie.
Yeah, I thought it was really great. So let's do a ranking. Number one, America. Let's do it. Yeah, Top Gun.
Hey, as a European, I might argue with that
That's
ranking.
right.
Thank you very much.
That's right. All right. That's all we have here for our one-fer season for Top Gun Maverick. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.